Hello, hello. Today I am talking a little bit about veggies and just trying foods in general. Veggies is generally a pretty hot topic in terms of like feeling like your kids won't eat any vegetables or just don't eat enough vegetables. And so, what I want to go over first is kind of that very basic idea of the division of responsibility, meaning that you get to decide what food you put out, when you put it out, and where. And then your kiddo gets to decide if they're going to eat it at all and how much they're going to have. Okay, so your job, your responsibility, that's why it's called the division of responsibility, is to pick the food and to put it out, and theirs is to decide if they're going to eat it or not. And this creates less stress for everyone because once the food is out, your job is done, and then you just let your kid choose to eat it or not. So that's the part of the division of responsibility. And then it fits in with veggies because the same thing happens with vegetables, right? You just keep putting veggies out and they get to decide if they want to eat them. So, what we know about feeding kiddos is that pressure, force, bribery, just pushing them to do it doesn't help in the long term. Sometimes they will try something in the short term, but that actually sets them up to not like it or not be willing to try it on their own. And they're more likely to try it and actually enjoy it when they do it on their own, when there's less pressure around it. So we just want to keep exposing them and exposing them in new ways. So that could be like putting out dips or sauces, cutting them into different shapes, trying them in dishes or outside of dishes, trying them cooked or raw, getting kids to help in the kitchen. So maybe it doesn't even involve like you don't even mention eating them. It's just purely them helping. So lots of ways to get that exposure so that they feel more familiar and less scary. And I want to tell you about a client that I was working with who had been pushing her kids to eat vegetables, and it was really rough, and it was creating a lot of like drama at the table and just a lot of stress for everybody, and they really weren't getting anywhere. And then she decided to really adopt this approach and not pressure at all. And she has two other kids that eat a little bit more variety and everything. And so she had put out veggies just like normal and had done more of like a veggie tray at the dinner table. And they were all just talking and eating. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, without saying a thing, her little one, who usually won't try them at all, like does not eat vegetables, reached across the table and grabbed a pepper on his own and took a bite of it, like without any issue, without any forcing, without anything. And that was just a huge win. And now he actually eats peppers. They haven't moved on to other foods, but he'll eat them now. And it's still not like every time, but she just keeps following the same approach, putting them out. But now when peppers are out, he'll often eat them. So I want you to know that it takes a lot of patience, but it does happen. Okay, so this approach and this whole feeding philosophy is what I practice in my own family as a mom of three, and also what I really help my clients try to adopt because it just creates less stress for everybody, including us parents. And especially for our kids, it makes them more apt to enjoy food and end up trying it and eating it in their own time. It can be hard to watch, but I want to remind you that like nutrition is very rarely, not ever, but rarely an urgent issue. Usually they're okay if they're getting food in, just some food in, they're okay. So what I'm doing is I am doing this 1 hour online workshop where I'm going to cover this topic. My kid doesn't eat enough vegetables, along with many other concerns that parents often have. So we're talking about picky eating in general, having a kid that's obsessed with sweets, having a kid that seems to only want to eat quote unquote like junk food, if you're concerned about a kid overeating. So all of these things we're going to cover. And then we're going to talk about the 10 principles, one of them being like to not pressure, right, or force or bribe or anything. So we're going to talk about 10 principles or solutions to handle all of these issues. So I am hosting that on January 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's also recorded, so if you can't make it live, you'll still get the recording, and so you'll get all of that valuable information, along with a couple of printables that will help, some PDF printables that you can put up and remember the topics that we talk about. So anyways, you can find out more about that. If you go to the link, I'll put the link here on my website, and it'll explain more about it all. I really hope you join me because I know how helpful this information is, and I want you to feel confident in what you're doing to feed your kiddos and less stress for everybody. So please join me and let me know if you have any questions about it. Okay, talk to you soon.